Coming up on Home and Away, Irene Roberts leaves Summer Bay after 33 years, but will John find the courage to say goodbye? In the weeks since Irene received the terrible news, she tried to continue on as normal, but quickly realized that it would be impossible. As she took a trip down memory lane, she began writing names on the back of all of her treasured photos, ready for when she began to forget the people and the memories captured on them. After some encouragement from John, she tearfully shared her news with Leah, and just days later, decided to sell her share of the diner to her best friend and business partner, not wanting to be a burden. Yet perhaps the biggest shock came a couple of weeks ago, when Irene announced she was selling her house and leaving the Bay. After talking to an enthusiastic Sonny, who had bonded with Irene when he cheered her up with a night of music and dancing, she decided that she wanted to spend her time traveling the world while she still could. "I want to see old friends while I still remember them," she explained. She put her house on the market, much to the shock of her lodgers Harper and Dana, and it looks like new arrivals Sergeant David Langham and daughter Jo will be the new custodians of Summer Bay's iconic beach house. John, Leah and Alf have all done their best to talk Irene out of her plan, reminding her that by selling her house, she won't have a base to return to, plus, when the time comes, she'll need the money to pay for her care. However, Irene hasn't been dissuaded, and her friends eventually came around to her plan, with Leah, Justin and Theo chipping in to help her plan her big adventure. She plans to kick off her world tour in Cyprus, visiting granddaughter Luke, who's living there with adoptive dad VJ, Luke's biological father being Irene's wayward son Mick, before continuing to visit old friends around the globe. The only person not on board with her plan is John, who's struggling with the idea of losing one of his closest friends. This week, with Irene terrified of her failing memory, she makes a shock announcement, and it looks like the announcement is that, with the house sold, she's leaving in just a few days' time. As her friends gather to help her pack up her things, the beach house is left eerily empty for the first time in decades. The only thing left in the living room is the board she and her friends have used to plan her big adventure. With her plans finalized, she wants to say goodbye to Summer Bay in style, as she tells her friends, "Let's have a party." A real rip snorter. In record time, Leah and Alf, aided by Justin and Marilyn, organize a celebratory event next to the beach, as all of the Bay come together to celebrate her life and see her off. Everyone, that is, apart from John. Knowing that his time with Irene is numbered, he does his best to pretend that she isn't leaving, as the thought of saying goodbye overwhelms him. However, he risks wasting the precious time he and Irene have left with each other. "I don't know how to say goodbye," he explains. "Don't have the words." As the event gets underway, there are farewell speeches, there's laughter, and Irene is even treated to a special musical performance by Justin and Theo. Lucky her. "Our last scenes were incredibly difficult but rich," Lynn tells TV Week. "Ada was sobbing and Shane, I think, is still in denial. They were the hardest to tell that I was leaving, but I know we'll always be friends beyond Home and Away." However, with John a no-show, will he return in time to say goodbye? Thankfully, a promo which has been airing across the 7 network in recent weeks, shows that John will indeed turn up to see Irene off. "We think we're just making a bit of telly, but I've realized that in some ways, this is a lifeline for people," Lynn continues. "Irene has had an impact on people, which is a huge honor and responsibility. I'm so grateful for everyone. There are bound to be plenty of tears, as Irene says goodbye after 33 years.